All right. Well, we start off the season 101. Big Money Joe, appreciate you being here. If you guys don't know, here on TikTok, I'm live on YouTube as well. Says, as Conor McGregor would say, we got food. That was horrible. I did not like the game from start to finish. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about, especially in the first drive. As short as it was, there's so many things that I saw that I did not like. There was hardly any creativity offensively, and really just you don't need to be too creative, right? Especially this was a good defense. I underestimated the defense. I will admit I did not think the Vikings defense was this good. They are pretty good. I'm not going to say they're the best in the league. We just got outplayed. We got outplayed. It looked like the Vikings wanted it more. Was just a horrible, ugly, disgusting game from the San Francisco 49ers, especially in the beginning of it. I mean, just like last week, we looked very rusty. We looked like we didn't belong. And this week, we did the exact same thing, right? We didn't get our playmakers involved as much as I would like to. And our playmakers, I'm talking about, of course, Brandon Ayuk, right? We didn't see too much of him this game. George Kittle, he got a big role this game, which that was great, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And the whole first drive, really what my biggest concern was, or my biggest issue in the drive was we didn't get Jordan Mason involved at all. Zero rushes for Jordan Mason on that first drive. Again, I know it was short, but you're coming off an awesome game against the Jets. I get it's a short week. Jordan Mason was ready to go. We got him involved later in the game. He looked good, and then we stopped giving him the ball again. We did it. We didn't rush as many times as I would like to, and what we normally see from Kyle Shanahan. It wasn't there, and I just it was disappointing overall. Debo looked pretty good. He had some pretty great catches. One thing I do want to talk about, one player I really do want to talk about, which I'm pretty sure everyone's dying to hear, is Brock Purdy. Right, Brock Purdy. I usually defend the guy. I like Brock Purdy. I like him a lot. Big confidence Brock is another name what he's known for. BCB. I know it stands for something else, but this game he did not look confident whatsoever. This guy was second guessing himself. I mean, he could not progress through his reads fast at all. Right? It was he was looking down the field at one guy only, and if he was there, he was there. He would pass the ball to. But he just could not progress. He was second guessing himself so many times where you see Debo, where you see Juice, they're wide open, and then he hesitates and then he throws it late where it's almost a pick or it's picked off or he gets sacked. It was just a messy game overall. Defensively, the front seven, we played great, right? I mean, I don't want to talk about Fred Warner because that's just how great he is. I mean, you have one interception, two forced fumbles, and I'm counting the forced fumble at the very end. We knocked the ball off of Sam Darnold because that was a fumble, it just went out of bounds. But what an absolute stud this guy was. Again, appreciate you guys joining me here live. It kind of sucks, going live after a loss, but it is what it is. It's football. Good side is my fantasy teams look great today for whatever reason, but I am live on TikTok at NSP Football Talk. I am also live on YouTube. So if those of y'all who are on TikTok, I am live here. Daniel Oshia has a skull face. Yeah, I know. It's wow, dude. I thought this game was supposed to be a lock, right? It was supposed to be a game where you're supposed to be able to sit back, relax, and just enjoy uh the absolute beatdown that you're supposed to be giving the Vikings. That did not happen. We embarrassed ourselves so many times. So play calling was huge, right? That was huge, huge, huge. What I was looking at, I'm like, why are we not running the ball enough? Why are we making these weird plays? Why are we trying to force the ball to Debo? I'm just not really liking it. I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't working. Nothing was working. Our run game, it was working. Daniel says, as a Bears fan, the Vikings are the best in the division. See, that's huge, Daniel. I appreciate you commenting here on TikTok because on the podcast that we normally do, we have a co-host, Reed. He's a big Packers fan, and he counted out the Vikings. Completely count out the Vikings when the season first started. Before the season, I like the Vikings. I think the Vikings have a pretty solid team. They got Aaron Jones. He looked decent today. Besides that fumble in the 1 yard line, and then you also, you got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. And I get that he was injured. Justin Jefferson goes out with the injury as well. Hopefully, he comes back okay for the Vikings. But yeah, that's huge. They definitely do look probably like the best team in that division. Rave here on YouTube says watching your team lose close games ruins the rest of your Sunday. It really does. Like I said, I'm winning in 4 out of 5 of my fantasy leagues, and I really don't care. I mean, I'm a big fantasy guy. You all know me if you watch this podcast. I'm huge on fantasy football, but I'd rather see a Niners win here. And so it just stings, it hurts, and it sucks because I feel like the Niners took a step back instead of getting better for the season. Rave also says, I'm down in 3 fantasy leagues and I have homework. See, that is the worst part, right? Because you want to watch your team play on Sunday, but knowing you got homework, you're to watch your team loses, you're losing in fantasy, and now you got homework is just, yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's great. As our great subscribers would say, fan over fantasy. And I was going up against Jordan Mason today, and I was like, I don't care if he has a great game like he did on Monday, which he should have had a great game. That didn't happen. They didn't really utilize him as much as I thought they would, which they should have, because sometimes they didn't have an answer for him. Cloaked XF says, hey, it's Brar. What's up, Brar? Appreciate you being here. I need my GOAT CMC back. CMC is on the IR. We're going to be missing, he's going to be missing a lot of time. And honestly, I don't even think that that's the issue, right? I think this play calling, you're kind of limiting yourself in that running back position just because you don't have a guy named Christian McCaffrey back there. Jordan Mason is an outstanding player. Let's trust our players. He might be in the doghouse because of last week about the comments and the interviews, but it sucks that CMC is not there. We got a huge scare today that when George Kittle got carted off the field, but this guy was just so dehydrated. You could tell he got some IV stuck in him. It is what it is. Rave says Titans gave another win away. I didn't get to watch the game. Whenever the Niners are playing, I just put all my focus on the Niners, and then I probably go rewatch some of the games later. I know we got some games going on right now, but for fantasy wise, for my fantasy notes, I'll go back and check those out. Brar says Brad and Ayuk played max type money to do nothing. Yeah, he got paid max money and he hasn't done anything. Monday, I was very disappointed on Brandon Ayuk. He dropped some passes that wide receiver ones are supposed to be catching 100% of the time. You had Brock Purdy play the exit game on Monday, dropped an absolute dime to him. This game was a little different, right? Usually, Brandon Ayuk is known for creating separation against his defenders. And this week or this game, he didn't create that many separations, right? He kind of got stuck with these defenders. And I'll give it to Flores. He played a great defensive game against us, right? Sam Darnold played a great game against us as well. So good for him. And I'm already getting some memes sent my way saying like, oh, this is why you should have effing cut me for Sam Darnold. Hey, that's a whole different story, right? It's a different story with Sam Darnold. We gave Sam Darnold a chance. We got him paid. We just couldn't afford to pay him again, right? But good for him. I'm glad. I'm happy. No ill will towards anyone out there for the Vikings fans, Vikings players. So great for them. That was a great win starting off the season 2-0. They're going to need it once Jordan Love comes back because that's going to be a competitive division. I'm not too sure how the Bears going to look after today. We'll see. The game, I believe, is going on right now. And then we're talking about the Niners today. We're talking about the Niners. It was extremely disappointing. We looked like we took a step back. Brock Purdy looked scared out there, and that's the first time you've seen this, right? There's a couple of times where in this game where he was able to step out of the pocket, extend the play, and make some great plays going. But at the same time, there's a lot of plays that could have gone our way if Brock Purdy would have just trusted his receiver, would have just trusted his first read and get the ball where it needed to be. And that's just where we're at here, right? Where do we stand as far as getting more comfortable with one another, getting more comfortable, getting that chemistry going on with his receivers? Because I said that last week. I said that on Monday. He wasn't really connecting with his wide receivers. It wasn't really that great of a connection between them, and you saw it, right? There's a lot of miscues. Brar also says that O-line wasn't giving Purdy much time either. That O-line, I don't want to put too much hatred on the O-line, but yeah, Brock Purdy was getting pressured a lot. And another thing to notice too, in week one, the Vikings were actually the team who blitzed the most, and we saw it this game, right? And usually Brock Purdy is really good against the blitz, right? He's able to extend plays, find the open man, because we usually have players who are getting separation. But today, the only person that was getting open was George Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk, right? Down under, just finding out. People not doing their jobs hurts the team, right? Play calling hurt the team today. You got to run the ball. We are a running team. Brock Purdy's great. Can you put the game on his hands? Today you couldn't. Today you couldn't. We're just going to be completely honest here. That's who we are. I'm a Niner. I'm a faithful. Love Brock Purdy. Would have him over anyone. But, geez, I'm just getting notifications for fantasy. I just saw that Kyler Murray got a touchdown pass to Marvin Harrison Jr. It's about time, Kyler Murray. Rave says CMC being missed RN. Like I said, I don't think it's so much CMC. I think due to the fact that CMC is not there, we are limiting our play calling offensively. And I hate that Kyle Shanahan does that. He does that whenever Deebo Samuel's not there. Yeah, they're doing the post-game press conference right now. He does that when Deebo Samuel's injured. He would do that when Kittle's injured. He would do that when Ayuk's injured. If one person is injured, we're going to scratch the whole board and we're doing a whole new game plan. And that's what sucks. It's not so much that I think that CMC was a huge factor that he was gone, because Jordan Mason played great. He had a couple of runs that got stuffed, but that's okay. That's normal. You can't always have great runs. I think he's still averaging about 5 yards per run. That's amazing. Brar says CMC opens up the offense and receiving game, which Jordan Mason can't do. That's absolutely true. My wife was yelling at the screen, and he's like, CMC's wide open. CMC's wide open. I mean, not CMC. Jordan Mason wide open. And you see that, right? But that's another thing you want to look at Brock Purdy. Like, he's looking at Deebo Samuel. That's his first progression, and he's not looking anywhere else, right? You got to go through your reads, see what's open. Even though, like, you're getting pressured, you got pressure in your face, you got to be able to check down. And there's tons of times where Jordan Mason, Kyle Juszczyk, George Kittle were all open, and they met George Kittle a lot of times in this game, which is great. But hopefully he could get back on that grind. Rave says, yeah, CMC has that aura. Jokes aside, CMC is just an absolute beast. He's one of those guys where he's not at this level yet, right? As far as, like, let's say Jalen Ramsey on the defensive side, where he's the name, right? So you want to avoid his path. CMC, he's a name in this league, so you want to avoid him. But CMC is still being productive, unlike Jalen Ramsey. Vincent, thank you for tuning in here live with us, man. He says Purdy played well too. Purdy did play well. He didn't have a negative game for say, but I feel like his game could have been better. He looked uncomfortable against the blitz, and this is the first time we see him look this way against the blitz ever in his career. And Vikings so far are the team to blitz the most in the NFL so far through week 2. But yeah, we just need to be clean. We need Brandon Ayuk to be a factor. Like, dude, you're not creating separation at all. That's what you're known for. Let's create some separation. Let's do something here. Brar says, no reason your fullback should have more targets than your wide receiver 1. Who is our wide receiver 1? Let's ask that question right now, right? That's a tough question to ask. Who is our wide receiver 1 for the 49ers? Through week 1 and through week 2, if you ask me, if I've never seen a Niners game, if the NFL started last week, I'm saying that number 15 guy, Jawan Jennings, that guy is probably their wide receiver 1. He's the most trustworthy guy. He doesn't drop passes. He's extending plays. If the play is being extended, he's doing his best to get open, right? So Jawan Jennings is playing lights out. We signed him for 1 year. One is sad because we're not going to have him next year. We're not. It's the way the business works. It's unfortunate, but we will not have Jawan Jennings next year. The guy we paid max money to, Brar says, yeah, the guy we paid max money to is supposed to be the wide receiver 1. You could definitely see the difference between Brandon Ayuk and Justin Jefferson today on the field. Both guys got paid max money for the position that they're in. Justin Jefferson got paid more. I get that. But he was out there. He was making plays. He wanted it. He wanted to win. And unfortunately that he got injured. Hopefully he's okay. But Brandon Ayuk, man, it's frustrating watching him on the field. He can't create separation. The balls that he does catch, he doesn't do much with it. You got to be more. You can't just be a wide receiver anymore, right? If you got paid that lump sum of money that they first offered you, to be a top 10 ranked wide receiver, then it's fine, right? You're playing to your contract, but right now you're not. You're not even in fact, you're not even playing to that old contract that they would have given you. I get it. You missed the offseason. You had a short week. We'll give you that. Let's work on it. Okay, let's work on it. We gotta be better offensively. Our weapons are not looking like weapons. I'm talking about Debo and I'm talking about IU. Debo looked good though, but those wide receiver design runs, the sweeps with Debo, it's just not working. It's not working. We make it so obvious that whenever Debo Samuel is going to get the ball, we make it so obvious. Brandon Ayuk still holding out. Brar says, laughing. Sure seems that way. It sure seems that way. But yeah, that was pretty much disgusting. Niners, we start off 1-1, beat the Jets, which I thought that was going to be a difficult game. Coming into Minnesota, which we have a bad rep with Minnesota, right? Or rap. We lost, I believe. I don't know what it was, but they have our number. They have our number in the past few games played. And I thought for sure, hey, man, they're missing Jordan Addison. Justin Jefferson, he looks good, right? But they have Sam Darnold as a quarterback, which he played amazing, great for Sam Darnold. Hopefully he finds a career over there in Minnesota. But Rave says, Ravens about to go down 0-2. Is that what's happening right now? Or Ravens about to lose? Like I said, I'm going live right now. I don't have any games up behind me or anything. So I want to look that up. Wow, dude, Ravens are about to lose to the Raiders. Going to make me lose some bets today. Vincent comes out and says, real question here. Niners still the NFC West champs? Non-biased Seahawks fan. I think the Niners need to clean up their act. The Niners need to clean up their act. Right now, they could win games. The way they are playing right now, they could win games due to their defense and how hard they play. Defensively, it was clear as day. We need Hufanga back. Hufanga needs to come back. Greenlaw needs to come back. We need our key players back. Offensively, we need to get our heads together. We need to be on one page only. But I did not get to see the Seattle Seahawks game. I believe it was a close game between the Patriots. If I could check out the score right here. So final and overtime, Seattle Seahawks. Wow. It went to overtime. 23-20. It comes out to the New England Patriots. So obviously record-wise, Lana, appreciate you being here. She says, hi, how you doing? I'm not doing so great. It's a horrible day to be a Niners fan. But yeah, record-wise, we're looking at the Seahawks being number one, right? They're starting off the year 2-0. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think they lost last week. They start off the year 2-0. Yeah, they're 2-0. And everyone else might just be 1-2. We'll see what happens. But yeah, on papers there, I still highly think that the Niners will come out on top. They have the talent there. And you could tell it was kind of like watching a gunfire when it has a suppressor on, right? It's just like they have the talent, they have the gunfire. What's going on? What's not clicking? I think it's just a team thing. On paper, we have a better team. On the field, not everyone was playing. You could see that. Not everyone was playing. Vincent said, we had some sloppy play on both sides too, but glad to have the Seahawks on top of the NFC West. And that's usually how it's going to be, right? You saw my predictions. I know your predictions. I've had Niners and Seahawks 1-2 in our division. And that's just how it's going to be. Rave says, lots of upsets today. Did it finalize? Did that game finalize? Did the Ravens lose after all? Like I said, it's 0 time left. Nothing's happening here. Nothing's updated. I think, 0 time left. I think the Raiders just beat the Ravens. That's insane. And for those of y'all who picked up Isaiah Likely, probably not too happy with the with the production that was presented out there today. Mark Andrews got his fair share, but let's not freak out yet. You stay tuned for our fantasy football talk on our YouTube channel. But I think that's about it today, you guys. Vincent says, yes, Marvin Harrison, second TD of the game. Marvin Harrison with the second touchdown of the game. I told you guys not to freak about Marvin Harrison. I told you guys not to freak. I did bench him though. I benched him for Keon Coleman, and Keon Coleman has 0 points. But it looks like I'm going to win that game either way. Uh, I see some comments out here. I can't present any comments on TikTok. At least I don't think I can. But I'm new on TikTok. We're going live, especially we went live last week. We'll go live for the next Niners game. Murray needs to continue getting touchdowns. I need that. But just want to say thank you guys for joining me here live. Again, I will do this every post game for the Niners if this continues to get some type of trend. But thank you all so much for being here. And until next time, from the famous words of John Chapman, stay strong, faithful.